Alright guys, so here we are for another episode of the F1 2016 Career Mode Championship. This is round number 9 here for the Austrian Grand Prix. If you remember back to real life in the 2016 Formula 1 season, Pascal Wehrlein scored his first points in Formula 1 around this track. Can we do something similar today? That would be an absolute miracle if we could. So if we could have some things go our way this weekend, albeit maybe some tricky conditions, intermediates, maybe some retirements in this Grand Prix, who knows? It's actually raining right now in practice, as you can see from Sebastian Vettel there. So I don't know, if it's a rainy kind of weekend, then I'm going to back myself to score some points and maybe even have Pascal score some points as well, because we've seen in the past that the AI have been a little bit weak when it comes to these intermediate kind of conditions. So we'll have to wait and see what happens here. We're doing our track acclimatization test in the rain, and it's proving to be very tricky to not only pinpointly get this car through the gates, but to keep it on the track altogether. It is proving to be a real challenge at the moment, but I think we're going to pass this track acclimatization test, and yes, we will get 30 resource points to that as well, so that's going to add to the bank of resource points that we have. And we've got some big upgrades coming with the likes of Silverstone, Germany, Hungary, and then after that we've got the high-speed circuits like Spa and Monza. You want to be focusing on getting that weight reduction down, reducing the drag, and really starting to work on the engine now, because we're getting to a point where the other teams in this championship are now starting to overtake us in terms of engine performance. So it's proving to be a real issue at the moment, but as you can see here in the tyre wear test, the previous clip showed that I was turning in too much going through these two left-handers, and it was actually harming my tyre wear, but also my pace as well, because I was generating friction. And so what I did in the subsequent laps was I reduced the amount of input I put into the steering wheel. It actually made me faster, and it also made me reduce tyre wear. So massive shout out to Cody's for implementing this feature. It really helps us get an understanding of how to drive these cars fast and efficiently as well. And there we go. That's the end of practice. Time for qualifying.
Thanks for joining us on this Saturday afternoon, where qualifying is about to start here in Austria. So sit back and enjoy the afternoon session.
So heading into this qualifying session, I was going in a little bit blind, not knowing where my overall pace lied within the field, because I did do the qualifying pace in the intermediate conditions. So I didn't really do a proper run in the dry conditions. But what I can say is I didn't manage to actually beat the targets set down by the team in qualifying pace in the dry. So that might be an indication as to the kind of weekend we might have so far. But at the moment we sit P10, and we've only done running on super soft tyres. This is our 4th lap now in a row on the super soft tyres. Bear in mind I'm still yet to use the ultra softs as we come through the penultimate and final corners there. You are allowed to get up on top of the curb there, because I did do that in real life, so that's what I'm making full use of. We do a 109.697, which currently sees us in 10th place at the moment on the harder of the two tyre compounds. Well, it's the harder of the ultra softs and softer than the soft, so it's kind of like the middle ground tyre at the moment. I'm running with 8 wings as well in order to get the car through the middle sector a little bit better through those high-speed corners. And I feel like for the most part it is working. That was a change I made for qualifying, by the way, so maybe it is working. We're sitting in P19 at the moment, but we do start our ultra soft run now, so hopefully we can get ourselves closer towards that top 10. That would be absolutely fantastic at the moment. I believe Pascal is sitting around P16, something like that, so I'll be aiming to qualify near him at the moment. But we sit 5 tenths up on our previous best on super soft tyres, so this is looking very, very good as we head into the final 2 corners of this lap now. Really make the most of the outside part of the curbing there, like we do. But, we got away with it. Open the DRS up to the line, and we improved by 6 tenths. So we get ourselves into 15th. We drop to 16th now as the AI continually improve over the course of the session. And this is basically a perfect run through turn 1 there. Probably could have got on the power a little bit early, but maybe I went in a little bit too deep actually. But either way, this is the end of the session now. Checkered flag has now dropped, and we are now finding just a little bit of time over our previous best on the last set of ultra soft tyres. Now here we can see lots of traffic. Rosberg and a Sauber. I try and squeeze through the middle. to try and do some kind of miracle run and get through there without losing time, but couldn't make it happen. We lost our front wing, and I was prepared to risk that in order to get a better lap time there. But there we go. That is the end of qualifying. Real shame, though, that we had traffic just dawdling on the racing line there at the end of the session. I mean, that's pretty unacceptable, but either way, we end up in 16th place on the grid, and it is very, very close between myself and my teammate Pascal Wehrlein. 11 hundredths of a second is all that separates us heading into this race. So whenever I'm close with my teammate, I know it's going to be a good race. So without further ado, let's get into the race for the Austrian Grand Prix.
What a beautiful backdrop to a motor race. We're here in the Styrian Mountains, of course, and they've watched over some cracking races throughout the history of this Grand Prix. Controversy, of course, think back to 2002, but also great joy. Do you remember Niki Lauda's historic home victory in 1984?
We need a good result today to cement your #1 status. If we continue to underperform, we might lose it.
I don't know about you guys, but I feel like my engineer is a little bit delusional. We've only just been out-qualified by our teammate, and we sit just outside the top 10 in terms of the points, but forget about that engineer. One really good performance from my teammate, and that undoes all the good work we've done this season. But either way, as you can see on the race strategy, we're going to start on the soft compound tyres, do a one-stop and put on the super softs to run to the end of the race. If you notice down at the bottom of the screen there, I added on a little bit of fuel there just to run in a higher engine mix for the majority of this race. So hopefully we should be a little bit more, I don't know, easy on our fuel over the course of the race in order to give us more flexibility in terms of that. Yes, we'll have a heavier car, but I feel like running in a higher engine mix will give us more of a benefit than having a lighter car, if that makes sense. So here we are, ready for the start of the Austrian Grand Prix. 5 red lights, and away we go. Looks like we got a better start than our teammate Pascal Wehrlein immediately in front of us, even though he's on the softer compound than us. But we can see there's a Williams up our inside. We have to leave him space. It's 3 wide through turn 1, and I think we're just going to get the supremacy over those two guys. Yes, we do. Round the outside now to the run to turn 2, and we make contact with Grosjean there around the outside. Let's see if we can make this work for us. Alonso kind of in the middle of the road there. There's a wall of cars in front of us that we just really can't do anything about. It's just a bit of a patience test at the moment, trying to find a way around these guys. Next up is Perez. Let's go for a little lunge up the inside. We actually get Alonso in the process as well. We squeeze him out, only just clear his rear wing as we edged him off to the outside part of the racetrack. So it's been a really good start here at the end of lap 1 here. You can see there's a massive train behind us, but you'll see that'll start to, I don't know, sort itself out as the race goes on. My teammate is right amongst the thick of it in that little train there as well. Lap 3 DRS has been enabled, and now the cars in front of us are in their own little train here and holding each other up so much. But which way do I go? Right, left? We're going to go left and around the outside just like we did on the first lap. And now we make contact, do we? No, we don't actually. We go around the outside. We went a little bit conservative under brakes there. I didn't want to run into anyone. There's a Toro Rosso that's been spun out at turn 2 there. And I think we only just narrowly avoided that. As you can see on the replay, wheel to wheel with one of the Red Bulls there around the outside. And then there's a Toro Rosso. Yeah, he spun himself out, really. He went for a dive up the inside, and now look at the massive Constantina effect. All the cars in the midfield there just running into the back of each other. We'll get a replay on that in a minute, but as you can see here, this is the replay on board myself, and you can see I just went a little bit too conservative through here. I was holding it around the outside. Look for the Toro Rosso on the inside there. Makes contact with a Red Bull, and then you'll see him come spinning on the apex. And you can see we're at full lock here, and then we see the rear end, and we just straighten out the steering and just avoid that Toro Rosso in the nick of time. Man, I would not want to get any closer to that Toro Rosso if you want to try. Just on simulation damage, you do not want to risk it. As you can see, third person view, it's fairly close, but we could have been closer. But like I said, I would not want to risk getting any closer than that. We survive and we gain a few positions in the process. Virtual safety car for that absolutely huge crash there of all the cars behind us. I'll show a replay of Pascal Wehrlein. He went screaming in to that accident there. Just really unfortunate that it had to be Pascal of all drivers to absolutely smash into all those guys. Jolyon Palmer got disqualified from the race. Felipe Nasr is disqualified too, and Marcus Ericsson. Just unbelievable scenes here on this third lap of the Austrian Grand Prix. I can't believe there wasn't a safety car for that, to be honest. That was an absolutely huge crash that involved 7, 8, 9, maybe even 10 cars there. But yeah, like a lot of them couldn't actually clear from that accident, so they had to be disqualified, which is very unfortunate to see some cars taken out of this race. But we rejoin in the action now. Virtual safety car has been called off, and look at all the debris on the apex of turn 2 there. We ran straight over all of that, and if the game would be more realistic, then we'd have probably 4 tyre punctures there. There was that much debris and damage. But lap 5 now, you can see this is Verstappen, and was that Kvyat making his pit stop there at the end of the lap 5 there. So with that virtual safety car earlier, I was really hoping that would go on for longer, because I would have actually made use of that virtual safety car and concede less time in making a pit stop. But it just ended at the worst time, and I didn't opt to make an early stop there. So we're going to stick to our one-stop strategy on the soft compound tyres. Everyone else in the field has made their stops, so I've inherited the lead briefly before Raikkonen caught me up within a few laps. So Raikkonen is the race leader. Rosberg is chasing him down just a few seconds behind. And at the moment, we're just trying to run our own race. And I've seen a lot of comments over the course of the season saying, Ben, why don't you defend your positions harder when you're battling with the AI? The thing is, I could defend my position, but I'd hold up myself and the AI in the process. Essentially, when I'm racing the leaders like these guys, I'm not racing these guys essentially for position. I'm trying to, in this phase of the race, get through the race as quickly as I can, run the fastest race I can, let these guys go through without losing any time, get some slipstream, get some DRS, get dragged along with them, and in the process, I'll have a faster race time because of it. So you just got to know who you're racing, you got to know when to fight, when to defend. And against the Mercedes, the Ferraris, the Red Bulls, it is not the time to defend and race against those guys. So, just for all those people who are saying, why don't I defend those positions early on? That's why. Because if we just start defending, then we're going to, essentially draw ourselves back into the midfield and potentially lose a few points in the race. So that's my reasoning why I don't defend these early positions against the really quick cars. But either way, with all that said, it's lap 15 now where we've conceded a place to Hamilton, and we're going to stick in the slipstream with him. I actually tried running in rich revs behind Vettel, and I actually used DRS a few times, and I was able to stick with him for a lap or two there. So this is lap 19 now, this is Daniel Kvyat, and now we're getting to the kind of realms where I will start to battle these guys, and yes I will. I'm going to start battling Kvyat and trying to hold on to this position, because I've gone a really long way into this race, 19 laps. These guys around me now are getting to the point where they're going to stop again soon as well. So in a matter of a few laps, we're going to be on very equal footing here. And against the Toro Rosso, I'm gonna back myself to really fight with and defend against this guy. So Kvyat is kind of the target at the moment. We got Ricciardo behind us. I'm going to allow this battle to continue so long as it doesn't hold us up too much. We have DRS, rich revs. We're going to go up the inside into turn 1. And see if we can make this move stick for us. Yes, we do. And we move back inside the top 5. On lap 22, Sergio Perez is out of the race. And there's a virtual safety car.
Safety car. Reduce speed immediately and keep a positive delta. Drop your speed. Our delta is too low and we risk a penalty.
Yeah, as you can see there, whenever yellow flags or a virtual safety car comes out, the engineer gets very vocal. And it is very hard to compete with him. The timing of this virtual safety car again was really bad. It ended just before I got to the pit lane, and I was going to serve my first pit stop of the race and put on the super soft tyres, but it just came at the wrong point. I'm only 1 lap away. I think I'm actually in the pit window now to change tyres, so I'm going to do that. Vettel has stopped twice in this race, and now we're about to make our first stop in this race. So we've gotten so deep into this race that now we're in a position where we could potentially score points just because we've looked after our tyres so well. We've kept up a reasonable pace over the course of the race that we were still racing the leaders as we were coming in for our first stop now. So when we put on the super soft tyres, we're going to be on fresher ones, and we're going to be battling, slower cars at the edge of the top 10, where I think we should be able to hold our own here. So with a really good strategy from Manor and looking after our tyres, learning a lot from the tyre wear test on Friday practice, I think we may well finish legitimately in the points here in 9th place. So it's looking very good at the moment. We've got Ricciardo a few seconds up the road. We're essentially going to forget about him. He's about 10 seconds up the road. Magnussen has retired from this Grand Prix, so we'll have a look on the replay and see what happened to him. I've seen a few retirements, I must say, in the last few rounds, and again, it's another engine retirement in this 2016 career mode. The engines are not this unreliable in this era of Formula 1 anymore. This isn't 2014. You don't see retirements this often, but you know what, I'll take it. I'm not going to gain any positions anyway, because the cars that keep retiring in this race are all cars that are behind me. But either way, in the last few laps we've been easing off because there's been no one around us, and bang on lap 31 a couple of cars in front of us have actually made their stops. So I kind of regretted backing off there and saving my engine, saving my tyres, because I leaked about 5 seconds, and that would have been the difference to rejoin in front of Kvyat after he made his second or maybe even third stop there. So yeah, a bit frustrating, but in the end we're still going to finish in 9th place and come away with 2 very solid and very hard-earned points here in this Austrian Grand Prix.
Good job, you did really well. Super driving.
So, another excellent win from Ferrari. Tell me, Alex, what was the key to this success?
Taking care of the car was absolutely vital today. It's been obvious all weekend that the pace was there, but look at the attrition rate we've had. They would have been very concerned about any minor anomaly towards the latter stages of this Grand Prix.
So, here they come now, out onto the podium. Wherever you go, anywhere in the world, the prancing horse flags are dominant in the grandstands, and they're out in force again today. It's Ferrari on the top step once more.
So there we go, guys. Another win for Sebastian Vettel in this 2016 Career Mode Championship. I believe he is running away with the championship quite considerably at the moment. In terms of us, though, we had a really good race. Like I said, we ran our own race. We let those positions go early with the leaders, and because of that, we put ourselves in a really good position. We lapped very consistently. We got to the point where we made our stop, we rejoined in 9th place, and we were able to hold our own on fresh, super soft tyres. And yeah, the cars behind us couldn't really have an answer to us at the back end of that race. Like I said, this race was won for us by our consistency of looking after the tyres. And yeah, by the time we got on the super softs, it was just a case of bringing it home there. Of course, the massive crash on lap 3 obviously helped with things, and I think the AI might have been a bit closer, but to be fair, I feel like I would have had the track position and the tyres on my side in order to defend from any kind of threats from behind. But in the end, a lot of DNFs in that race. I think we only ended up with 15 runners left in the Grand Prix. We still hold position in 11th place in the drivers' standings. In the constructors, it's only 2 points, but we might draw level with Haas as we look on the constructors table. I believe we will. But as you can see there, Vettel has a 41-point lead over Rosberg at the moment. For whatever reason, Mercedes just can't seem to get their act together and win a lot of these races in this championship, which is quite interesting to note. Pascal still holding it down there in 17th place. And there you go. You can see Manor is level on points with Haas F1 team in 8th place in the constructors. Thank you guys so much for watching. The support on these career mode videos has been absolutely awesome. We've got a bank of resource points to use in the next episode, so we're going to go on a bit of a spending spree and really kick things up a notch in this career mode championship. Until then, guys, thank you for watching. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Leave a like on this video if you enjoyed. And until my next video, guys, I'll see you next time.